Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the DUI Guy Plus Raw Law Unfiltered. Last night was really fun. I'm not gonna lie. We had that umbrella guy. We had Tug on stream, and we. I was hoping. I think I was a little too optimistic for my own good last night. I was trying to push for the 250,000 subscriber mark, and we were unsuccessful because it just needed a few more people than I guess I thought I had anticipated would actually show up. And plus, it was really late. It was like 1 or 2 a.m. when we started at like I think 12:30 or something. But anyway, it's so good to see you guys. I can't believe we're literally almost there. When I woke up this morning, I went to bed. I woke up and it was another like 150 people. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And most of it, the like the last 1,000 that I've gotten is pretty much exclusively because of Tug. Like no question, absolutely no question. He has done so much for my channel, and he's such an awesome guy, just like all around. He's an awesome person. He's funny. He's creative. I've seen some of his videos over the years, or over the past few months. I shouldn't say years. He's a professional, you guys. Especially having that conversation with him yesterday. What I really liked about our conversation, I don't know if some of you were there last night. What I noticed is the way that he reasons, the way that he understands the world, the way that he sees the world, the way that he rationalizes is very peculiar. You know, not very many people are capable of the same type of way of looking at the world and rationalizing it. So I was just very happy to see not only his support, but also his presence on my channel. That was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. It really was a great stream. He's a very intelligent human being all around. He's got personality. He's got creativity. He owns the grift like none like I've ever seen. He's already, I was going to say, like, you know, the guy's going to go far. He's already come far. I don't even need to say that. But yeah, it's incredible that October of last year. So I'll share with you guys a few things about myself. Which I think we kind of started sharing a little bit yesterday, but I want to go a little bit deeper. So last year, well, no, actually, let's go back further. Let's go back a bit further. Let's take a time machine to 2014 when I started my YouTube channel. So in 2014, I've been in practice about a year, and I had every social platform at that point. I remember I understood the value of social media. I understood the need to have a social media presence and how not all social media were born the same. So I created, a LinkedIn, a Facebook, a page. I had a Twitter account, I believe, already established. I just had to like rename it and stuff. And that was my introduction to the world. I started posting, learning. I mean, it was a very steep learning curve. Like I remember in the beginning, every book and article I read about starting a business, it was all talking about you need to brand yourself. Brand. What is branding? You need to brand. What's a brand? And to me, it was like a foreign language. I had absolutely no idea what that meant and what it is. That was in the beginning. And very quickly, I started to understand branding and what it was. And I mean, I was a 25-year-old kid. I didn't understand my elbow from my boot, And around age 26, I started realizing that this name that I created for myself, that I took, the DUI guy, which has stuck to this day, as you all know, has been my brand. Like I understood that was going to be my brand. And I realized I need to create a YouTube channel. Why? Because everybody else is doing it, right? Kind of thing. Got to follow the crowd. If you're going to be on Twitter and Shitter and Facebook and Blazebook, whatever, you got to create a YouTube account. What do you put on YouTube? I had no idea. At the time, I wasn't really much of a YouTube watcher. I didn't really enjoy as many channels as I do today. Plus, I was very busy. I was mostly watching Netflix, I remember at the time. I didn't really get into YouTube personally, like watching wise, until 2017, maybe 18. I don't remember. It's been a while. But I created my channel October of 2014. I was a year in practice, like I said. I started my business October of 2013, for those of you who don't know. And so a year later, there was, almost to the day, like my YouTube channel and my business birthdays are almost like on the same day. Almost, but not quite. They're a few days apart, and a year apart, of course, like a year and a few days. But I didn't know what to put on it. Like, I didn't know about going live or creating videos. I had not a whole lot of video editing experience. And what I would do, I had a couple videos that I remember in 2013, I became the first law firm in Kentucky, the second law firm in the United States of America to accept Bitcoin for services. I don't know if you all knew that. There's an article floating around. I believe WDRB is the one who made the story or did the story back then. And I was trying to stand out from the crowd. I was trying to stand out from the crowd. And it worked. It worked. People were referring to me even as a Bitcoin guy, I remember, for a short while. People refused to use the moniker, the DUI guy, because they're like, who the hell are you? You're like nobody. You've been practicing a few weeks. I'm not going to call you the DUI guy. Judges, prosecutors, other lawyers, they were laughing at me, as I was probably well-deserved, right? And I remember that article coming out, and people were like, we're going to start calling you Bitcoin guy from now on. And I was the Bitcoin guy for like 3 months around the courthouse. And anywhere I would go, I'd be like, hey, Bitcoin guy, what's up, buddy? That was my nickname. And so when I started the YouTube channel, I posted that video. And I did like a little introduction. My first office I ever had, I hired my buddy who's a videographer, and he made a short video about who I am, what I do. And, it's just like me getting interviewed, talking to the camera. It was very low production. very cheaply made, but it was a video. So I posted that. And then I had a couple other interviews. I then created a commercial a couple years later in 2015, I think it was, when my grandfather passed away. It was like one of my saddest moments on multiple levels back in that day, because I remember I was in St. Augustine. This was winter, December, Christmas time, 2015, or was it 14? No, it must have been 15, I think. I think it was 2015, and I got a call. I got a call from my mom. My mom was like, because my grandpa lived in Canada. My mom was like, "Grandpa's in the hospital," and I said, "I'm dropping everything. We got to go to Canada." She's like, "Well, okay, hold on, slow down. We need a passport. We need to find your passport or your birth certificate or my naturalization certificate, that is." And I simply, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know him that well, but him passing, or about, like, I didn't know. He ended up passing like a week later, and we ended up going to the funeral a few days later. My commercial, I literally, right before I left for St. Augustine, I bought my first commercial. I bought it like a 2-week block spot, and several spots in that 2-week block. And I was unable to answer the phone because I was in Canada for my grandfather's funeral. So the commercial almost went unnecessarily so. Like, in hindsight, but I already paid for it. It was too late. It was already going to run. I didn't know what to do. So I said, fuck it, whatever. Little did I know that was going to be just the beginning. Little did I know. Like, I didn't even care about the commercial. It was nice to meet a bunch of family that I've never met before in Canada. But a couple years go by. I post, like, I had another commercial made like a year later. I posted that, and I had another interview, and I posted that. And I had about 6 or 7 videos on my channel between 2014 and 2018. Roughly posting once every 6 months, basically. I had, like, as I told Tug yesterday, I probably had about 150 subscribers, like 150, not 1,000, not thousands, 150 subscribers on my channel. And it grew out of the blue because I posted one magical video that I did not even know people are going to be interested in. I had no idea. I thought that there would be basically 3 demographics of people that are going to be interested in this content originally: judges, lawyers, and which includes prosecutors, and law students. That's it. I had absolutely no idea that the general public is going to be so interested, so invested, so curious, and just hungry for more. Give us more, Larry. Like, I answered the call. I started feeding YouTube with everything I had. I started pulling trials and hearings from every corner of every courthouse that I've been to, because now we're in 2018. Well, 2018 has come and gone. And 2019 came around. January, February, March, I started pumping out my content, my trial content, which, like I said, I had no idea people were just so hungry for this stuff. I was like, all right, people were curious. I became a niche market. I cornered the market on YouTube doing something that there's a few that I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone in this because I've seen these videos of courtroom proceedings, but it's never like an entire trial start to finish. They have like a hearing here and there. They have a snippet of a trial or whatever. I was able to provide entire trials cover to cover. Why? Because I'm the star of the trial at that point, right? I was able to provide that content, and people just started flocking by the thousands to my channel. And that's something like you cannot predict. Again, this is not something that you plan for, like, oh, you know what? I'm going to create a channel and I'm going to get thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers. Definitely not. So that's exactly what I did. 2019 came and went. I think I remember talking to a buddy at a conference right before the pandemic. It was the last conference I did prior to the pandemic. We were in Arizona, and this is January of 2020, January 17th of 2020. I'll never forget it. We were there for 17th, 18th, and maybe 19th. It was a 2-3 day conference. And he asked me, like, how's your, oh, you have a YouTube channel. How's it doing? Like, where are you at? And I was like, oh, 16,000 subscribers. Like almost, or it was like 13 or 14. Sorry. It was 13 or 14 and like 4 million views at the time. And he was like, wow, like that's not what he anticipated. He thought I would say like, yeah, I don't know, like 500 or something. No, I was doing okay, The initial grind is always the slowest, and I'm not alone in that growth. Some channels explode, like absolutely explode, especially if you're doing like comedy or you're doing something absolutely unique. And mine was unique enough to where it grew and generated lots and lots and lots of attention. And so the pandemic hit March 15th of 2020. That's when, or 13th, Friday the 13th. That's right. Friday the 13th of 2020 in March. The world shut down. Courts shut down. I was probably at 16, 17,000. And I've been sitting on this mountain of content that I was slowly at the time pushing out, and I started pushing out even more. And by the end of the year of 2020, I was sitting very comfortably around 60, 65,000 maybe. It was, to me, it was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. The growth that my channel has seen. And I was so thankful to every single one of you. And I just kept churning and burning. Story time. I think this is a good segue to a story that I have not shared yet either. In 2020, I got sued by a police officer for defamation. The police officer, I had a case where he was the police officer who investigated my client for operating a motor vehicle under the influence. And in the video, I caught him planting evidence. So during the pandemic, I made a video. I cut out the fat. I left the video as it happened, with just trimming evidence that, not evidence, but trimming seconds off the video that did not change the context, to make sure that the video's context is still intact. And the next day, I released it with a very, very provocative title. I released the video, and the next day he reached out on like a sister account or something on Facebook saying, take that video down or else. And I'm like, or else what? Like I'm telling the truth of what you did. I have the video right there to prove it. Anybody who questions what I said about you, planting evidence and being a dirty cop, there's the video. You want the original? Here's the original. I can send it to you. You can get it from wherever you want. You can get it from the prosecutor. You can get it from your department. Eventually, a news story broke out. Local DUI defense attorney being sued for defamation by Louisville Metro Police Department police officer. And he finally sued me in March of 2021 is when he filed suit, like a week before the expiration of the statute of limitations. So I imagine more than likely he could not find a lawyer for the longest time. He probably scoured the earth for a lawyer to take the case, and nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to litigate it. And finally he found one, probably like a family friend, or I know that one of the lawyers in that firm that filed the suit against me was actually a former firefighter. So, he's like brothers in arms. We stick together, blah, blah, blah. We'll undertake it. Let's go. I was like, okay. So I lawyered up myself. I hired the best First Amendment lawyers here in Kentucky. If you all want their name, I'd be more than happy to share that with you privately. They have earned the reputation. Absolutely. The lawyer that represented me in particular, the one I had the most communication with, was Michael Abate. You can look that up. He's phenomenal, brilliant First Amendment lawyer, absolutely brilliant. Because at the time, defamation is not something that I was dealing with on a regular basis. That was not my forte. That's not what I litigate. We're a year and a half before the Johnny Depp trial, and I didn't even know that Johnny Depp was going to trial at that point. So defamation was definitely not on my radar. And you all know the phrase, the most magical, important phrase in life. He or she who represents him or herself has a fool for a client. And I absolutely was not going to represent myself. So I hired up Michael Abate in his firm. And they filed, I think the answer was filed by another lawyer. Initially, I hired another lawyer. He filed the original answer. And then Michael Abate took it from there. And off to war we went. March, April, May, June of 2021. This is where the biggest news, completely unexpectedly, completely out of left field, have come to light. Turns out that this police officer has assaulted and injured an innocent bystander during the June-July 2020 riots. So a year prior to that. And holy shit, everything just went nuclear. Because I told, my lawyers told me, I told them, we were all scouring the earth. This is like, and not only that, he lied about it to his chief. He lied about it to his chief. He said, Chief, the guy fell off the fence as he was climbing the fence and hit his head or whatever. And then when they asked him for his body camera footage, he said, well, my body camera footage has been it's not there. I don't know what happened and glitched or it was turned off or something. So they had no body camera footage. Well, turns out there was another bystander who recorded everything on their personal cell phone. So his incident of assaulting an innocent bystander. Oh, by the way, did I mention he was using a baton while he did it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Terrifying. And this man was now suing me for defamation after he planted evidence in my client's vehicle. Come on. It was nonsense. And so in one of our responses in motions to the court, I remember my lawyers even quoted the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice was saying some very unsavory things about this cop. The Department of Justice was saying things about him directly, like conduct unbecoming a police officer and all that. And of course, federal charges are filed, civil suit, criminal suit running parallel. The civil suit, the individual seeking monetary compensation for the injuries that he sustained as a result of the assault by the police officer on him. And the criminal suit by the federal government for his criminal actions. He pleads guilty on the criminal side. I don't remember how the civil side ended. I don't think I followed the case closely enough, but I imagine he probably settled that as well. I highly, highly doubt that went to trial, especially after he pled guilty in the criminal case where the threshold is a lot higher, since the standard of proof is a lot higher beyond a reasonable doubt, whereas the civil case is merely preponderance of the evidence, but each one has to be proven on its own grounds, right? Well, anyway, he ends up pleading guilty. He's originally scheduled for sentencing, I believe, in November of 2021. But then there's like a motion to continue, and the Commonwealth doesn't object, so it's or the government doesn't object. It's not the Commonwealth because it's the state. Sorry, it's the federal government. It's not the state government. So the government doesn't object. You could say the United States had no objection. And they continued it to February 1st of 2022. Now, in the interim, don't forget, so he pleads guilty in June, July of 2021. Like a month and a half later, August or September of 2021, his lawsuit against me for defamation gets summarily dismissed on our motion for summary judgment. Judge Cunningham presiding, Division 4 in Circuit Court here in Jefferson County. And he writes a very lengthy opinion explaining why, basically, First Amendment, really, in a nutshell. My piece is not even just an opinion piece. It goes beyond that. It's not only an opinion piece, you also have a video that you can literally watch with your own eyes and see how it happened. And his counter argument of, well, it's been edited. Well, the judge saw the original version, and he knew that the original version and the version that I published are the exact same factual events, cover to cover. Same with the news station. They never published more than my edited piece because all I did was take out the fat. I didn't edit the style, I didn't edit the content. I just edited the style of presentation because I didn't want to bore the audience with like a 15-minute long video. I made it like 4.5 minutes long or something, maybe 8. I can't remember. It used to be on YouTube. I took it down to allow him to save face. You know, I'm an asshole, no question about it. But I'm not so much of an asshole that I'm going to keep rubbing it in your face, right? I wanted to give him an opportunity to save face. I wanted to give him, like, his reputation has already been tarnished. People already saw the video. People already knew. There's no need to continue, rubbing it in and twisting the knife and all that. I'm just not that kind of person. There was no need for that at that point. And so I took the video down and I kept it down. It's still down and it will stay down. But February 1st of 2022, so his case is over. His case is done. He lost. I can't reveal, by the way, how much he asked for because it wasn't public. It was in private negotiations. But I can tell you he was asking for a fairly large chunk of change to settle the case. And of course, we refused because we knew we were going to win because truth wins. And February of 2022, he and his lawyer came into federal court. This was 9 months ago. They argued that he should get probation while the prosecutor wanted jail time. I think they wanted 4 years out of the maximum 10 that he pled to. So he was looking at up to 10 years, but the prosecutor was only asking for 4, and then the defense attorney was arguing for probation, 0. And this is what the judge said. The judge said, "You assaulted a man, an innocent man who did nothing wrong. And we have the video to prove that the man was an innocent man. You assaulted them with a weapon, a baton. You injured that man severely. Afterwards, you claimed that your body camera footage was not in existence. It was not there. Whether that's true or not, we will never know. But that was your defense. So we couldn't see from your perspective what happened that day. Not only that, but afterwards, you went to your chief of police and you lied about your actions. You lied about what you did. You lied about what was said. You lied about what was done. You lied about the assault. You tried to cover it up. You lied to your chief of police in order to maintain your position as a Louisville Metro Police Department officer and to escape punishment, thinking it will just be swept under the rug and everybody will forget about it. Nobody will know the truth. Well, here we are, buddy. The truth came out. The video came out. We were so lucky that an innocent bystander captured this incident on film, and the truth about what you did that day came out. And the judge was basically like, we need to make an example out of you. I am going to make an example out of you. And she did. She sentenced him to 2 years in prison. Now, was that punishment deserved? I think so. Do I think that the officer was remorseful for what he has done? I think so as well. He's got a wife, he's got kids. But the fact that he was trying to avoid punishment, that's where he went wrong. If he had, because during the argument for probation, his lawyer said, and I quote, the officer was working very long hours with minimal sleep during the riots. And that might be true. That's I wouldn't be surprised. There was a lot of destruction going on in the city. Our courthouse in downtown Louisville was assaulted and raided, destroyed. There was like Kristallnacht, like the night of the broken glass. A statue was spray painted. Businesses had their windowsills broken. They were vandalized. Things were stolen. A restaurant, Eddie Merlot's, had to move or shut down. It's not there anymore after the vandalization on Muhammad Ali and 4th, I believe it was. Our city was not the same, no question about it, but it's the fact that the officer tried to evade justice. The fact that the officer tried in the beginning to evade justice, that's what sealed the deal for the judge and actually give him a prison time, a prison sentence. Now, I said that I think justice had been done, but I wouldn't say I'm happy for it, because you can't, like, when somebody loses their freedom, you can't honestly and sincerely be happy about it unless they did something extremely egregious, right? And his conduct was definitely egregious, don't get me wrong, but I like to see people like that turn new leaves. I like to see people succeed in life. I don't want to see people fail. Like when he gets out, I really sincerely hope that he has learned his lesson and he is going to fly right for the rest of his life. He's got a wife and 2 kids, for God's sake. He's got a wife and 2 kids. I don't want him to spend the rest of his life going back and forth with the criminal justice system. And I know he won't. He doesn't strike me as that type of individual. I wish him nothing but success and nothing but the best. Truly, honestly, sincerely. Even though he tried to sue my pants off, I still wish him nothing but success. That's right, Matrix. He's made some bad choices. That doesn't make him a bad person. That does not make him a bad person. People can change. People can change. I do too, G. I really hope that when he gets out, he thinks more about his family, his wife, his children, and changes his path. And I sincerely believe that he's capable of doing that. You know, I don't think that it is going to be difficult for him, especially after everything he endured. You know, getting caught by me, getting caught by the bystander who recorded the whole thing. It is what it is. What's done is done. But the point is, now is his chance. When he gets out, and by the way, while he's in as well, he has a chance to reform. This is his chance for reformation. So I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope that when he gets out, we're going to hear some good things from him. I hope that we're going to hear and see good things happen, both for him and his family and his life and his future career, whatever it might be. I mean, hell, I don't know. He might start a business. He might start his own YouTube channel and start maybe recounting. I think you could make a lot of success making a channel like that, by the way. Just as a total aside, if you go and create a YouTube channel and start recounting, like, you know, back in my days, I was a dirty cop. Just at that point, like nothing really matters anymore at that point. You just own it because you did the time, you paid your price, you repaid the community. At that point, all bets are off. Everybody loves a success story. Everybody. If you come out and say, you know, look at the camera and like episode 1, like, let me tell you the story about, I believe there's a channel out there somewhere about some individual who used to be a convicted, or maybe is still a convicted felon, and like did all these crimes. And now he has like a very successful and prosperous YouTube channel. I forget who it was. I remember I ran across it a few years ago, actually. He was like, it's like breaking and entering, or I can't remember. Chat might remember. He had like a big beard, I think. I can't remember. But he was like a convicted felon, you know, and he served many years in prison. And then when he got out, he turned a new leaf and just started doing good for the community, started releasing videos talking about his past, talking about his experiences and what he has done since to move forward. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And I suspect this police officer absolutely has the power to do that. Absolutely has the power to do that. And people will love it. People will be drawn to it because everybody wants to hear, you know, everybody wants to hear sleaze and dirt. And, oh, he's got a lot of it in his back pocket. You know, just don't drop any names and you'll be fine, kind of thing, right? Because a lot of them will be other police officers. But it doesn't matter. As long as you just tell the stories vaguely, like I told this one, and generally, even though you can Google all this stuff, I don't want to throw him under the bus. He hasn't deserved that. Like he He hasn't earned that. He's serving his time. I honestly, sincerely think that he's a good person. He just fucked up. He just thought that he's a young guy who thought that he was untouchable, as a lot of police officers do, especially when they start out on the force. And he started doing things that like all his buddies were probably doing. And he's like, well, they're getting away with it. I'm probably going to get away with it. And unfortunately, he's the one who got caught, right? And with his hand in the cookie jar. And that's okay. You live and you learn. The question is, and I tell this to all my clients, the clients that come to me, pay me money, and they're like, look, Larry, I fucked up. I messed up. I made a mistake. I got charged with a crime. And I'm like, that's fine. Okay. We will help do whatever we can with that particular case. So retain us, we'll take care of you. The real question, I give this speech to every single client. The real question is, what happens now as we move forward? Are you going to go back to drinking and driving, for instance? Are you going to go back to shoplifting? Are you going to go back to, assaulting people or whatever, getting into fights and getting drunk and whatever? Or are you going to realize like, hey, you know what? I have a problem. I should seek help. I should seek going to AA. I should go get some treatment, maybe get some therapy. It's all about what you do now. Because what's done is done, right? You can't change, the past. You can't change what has already happened, but you absolutely have every power to change what's going to happen in the future. And that is why I believe this cop, once he gets out, has every power, every ounce of energy to become the best version of himself that he possibly can. And I have a lot of hope for him because, I mean, in a way, our lives, touched each other very unintentionally. Well, both intentionally and unintentionally. And I kind of, I wouldn't say I'm invested, but I kind of am. I'm kind of invested in seeing as to, because I think he has a lot of potential. I have a gift. I see things in people that sometimes they don't see in themselves. And I see a lot of potential in that man. I really do. All he has to do is to put himself to good use. If he does that, that's it. The world is his oyster. At that point, he can do pretty much whatever. Catsy Healer, thank you, says, I hope you are right. It is going to depend on how he sees himself. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if he doesn't see himself as a failure, and I don't think he does. I really don't think he does. I don't think that he sees himself as a failure at all. I think he realized, with this time that he's had to think, these 9 months so far, and I don't think, like, when you get a 2-year prison sentence, I don't believe you serve like 365 days and 365 days in the federal prison system. I believe you get time off for like good behavior and all that. So he might be out sooner than expected. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're doing story time today. I think he sees himself as a success story. I really do. And I don't think it's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of effort. He's very, very capable individual. All right. Never been gamer. How do you deal with repeat clients, Larry? That's a phenomenal question, Never Been Gamer. Let's talk about it. How do I deal with repeat clients? So obviously, repeat clients are few and far in between, thank goodness. Maybe my entire career, if I were to say I have had 12 repeat clients, that would probably be an accurate number. And most of those are not even DUIs. It's very, very rare that I get repeat clients that are DUI clients. Maybe more than 12, but it's definitely under 20 the more I think about it. It's definitely, less than 20 if I said more. It might be more than 12, but less than 20. How do I deal with them? I mean, I give them the daddy speech. I give them the, look, man, let me take my lawyer hat off for a second. Let me put my dad hat on. Like, what the hell are you doing? What is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? This is how you want to end your life? Like, have a long rap sheet? Now, you got to be careful who you do that with. You got to be careful. Like, I normally don't represent individuals who have committed serious felony offenses like burglaries, robberies, murder. Those are not within the client demographic of people that we represent in my office, for the most part. That's just not the demographic that I'm after in my advertisements, and it's not the typical client that walks through the door. But the ones who get like another speeding ticket or another criminal charge, or usually the repeat clients that I actually get are the ones who they got something, I represented them, and now their friend or their uncle or their neighbor or their son or their daughter, which is not technically a repeat, but they're somehow related to the client that I personally have represented or my firm has represented. So those are obviously a whole lot different. Boricua girl, you're too sweet. You're too sweet. She says, been subscribed since early Depp versus Amber trial. I have unsubscribed to many other LawTube channels. I mean, you don't have to do that, but thank you. Larry is my ride or die. You're the best. But I'm not just DUIs. No, I mean, we do other petty misdemeanors, traffic cases, speeding. I mean, speeding tickets, obviously I don't advertise for anymore, but when they come through the door, they just pay for the electric bill and that sort of thing. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. Yeah, Jennifer Coots. That's basically how I approach things. Can you describe what it was like sitting to the hot court TV reporter in the courtroom in the Depp trial, please? Says 200-watt studio. Oh man. How can I even approach this question? It wasn't. What was it like? It wasn't. I mean, it was just like sitting in the courtroom next to a court reporter, or court TV reporter, rather. I know, well, she's a former, Chanley Painter is a former, what's it called? I'm blanking on the thing. The competition that she won, it was like Miss America or whatever, right? Chanley Painter. Chanley Painter was Miss Arkansas USA 2009. Competing in scholarship pageants helped Painter fund her education. She placed as a runner-up in Miss Arkansas in 2007 and 2008. Wow, these old photos, she's like almost completely unrecognizable. Let me share with you guys. That's her. Well, it's kind of tiny. You can't really see, but let me see if I can make it bigger. Here we go. Like, that's her when she was competing, and when she won. I think the year that she won. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive to win Miss Arkansas. And was I starstruck? No. I mean, she's a human being. She's a person. I don't treat celebrities or um, people of, I guess, a certain caliber as different individuals. They're people. They're just people. I treat them like people. So actually, in the beginning, I didn't know who the heck she was. I just thought she was another one of the people who was coming in, but I kind of quickly noticed because she had like a little thingy majigger that she was sitting on to make sure that because she doesn't get sore because she sits there for lengthy periods of time. One of those little soft cushioners, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, it was. No, I was not starstruck. I was not in awe or taken aback or anything. I was there. I had a job to do. I didn't have time for shenanigans. So, all right, 200 watts studio. Do you want her number? Is that what you're like? Are you looking for her email? Like, come on. Someone has an obsession here with Chanley Painter, and their name is 200 watts studio. It's all good though. You're allowed to. Oh, here's another great shot of her. Let me see if I can. Is it gonna expand? Here we go. This was her competing. Just for you, 200 water. Just because I'm sure that you are. Sounds like you're enjoying it. Yes, I do have her number, but sorry, you can't have it. You're gonna have to get it yourself. I don't know if that's the year she won, but that's definitely one of her competition photos. No question about it. Yeah, I did speak to Camille Vasquez at the end of her destruction of Amber Heard. That was incredible. That was incredible. That was worth it. Just the drive to Virginia to get a chance to shake her hand and get um, get her perspective, because I told her like I'm also a trial attorney, and it was really nice. It was really nice to see her destruction of AH, as we call her these days, because she doesn't deserve to be called by her real name. But yeah, Chanley was there most days, but she wasn't really reporting on the jury. And interestingly enough, Chanley, I remember in the beginning when I was there, I was kind of shocked, like she's not physically in person in the courtroom, and I kind of called her out on it, and I was quickly told, like, okay, buddy, relax. Like, she watches the trial on her phone. She's not physically in the courtroom. And I'm like, what's the point of that? What's the point of being in Virginia if you're not physically in the courtroom? But I guess she was doing other things. Again, I'm not going to I'm not going to you know I called her out when I thought I was right, and then when I quickly realized. Larry, who is someone in law that you look up to and why? I like that question. Um, my two idols are Clarence Darrow, first and foremost, and Jerry Spence. Johnny Cochran, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say I look up to him. Johnny Cochran was just a brilliant mind, but I wouldn't say I look up to him. Clarence Darrow was brilliant. Well, he was probably the best litigator of the 20th century in criminal law. And Jerry Spence is the counter to that. He was the most brilliant litigator of the 20th century in civil law. And I read some of their closing arguments. There's a very fantastic book series, and they changed their name. I remember one of the books was "And the Walls Came Tumbling Down." It has closing arguments from some of the most notorious trials of our time, like the Scopes Monkey trial. I don't know if you know, Clarence Darrow was the one, I believe, right? He represented the teacher, the biology teacher that was trying to teach. It was one of them. I know it was one of them for sure. Clarence Darrow, yeah. He was the attorney for Scopes. He was the teacher that tried to teach biology when the prevailing theory was, or evolution, when the prevailing theory was basically Bible verse, the earth was created in 7 days and all that. No, Matlock was a show, Jennifer. Matlock is a fictional show. Clarence Darrow was a real person. Matlock was a fictional character. He may have been based, I don't know, was he based on a real person? I don't know. Perry Mason and Matlock. They were both yeah. So I look up to those two. They're my heroes. They have done things that no one has achieved. Like, for instance, Jerry Spence actually holds the title for never having lost a civil case. Like, that is impressive. That is impressive. I don't know anyone who has never lost a civil case. Jerry Spence is one of them. He's lost a few criminal cases back in his heyday. So he can't, unfortunately, hold the title for never having lost the trial, period. He did lose a couple of criminal trials back in his, I think it was a public defender when he started out. He talks about it in one of his books, which I read. By the way, if you all are not familiar with Jerry Spence, one of the books that he wrote is called How to Argue and Win Every Time. I very strongly encourage you to get that book and read it. Lawyers, non-lawyers, doesn't matter. It is actually not just a theoretical approach, but it has turned into a practical guide on how to condition yourself and train yourself to be able to win arguments in a better way, and how to be more successful at it. And if you like closing arguments, and the walls came tumbling down, and there was like a whole series No, the book, not the song. Wait, it was not The Walls Came Tumbling Down. What am I thinking of? Yeah, it is. And The Walls Came Tumbling Down. I'm sorry. There are like two books by the same name. Greatest Closing Arguments. Yeah, it isn't. I knew I wasn't crazy. Greatest Closing Arguments. Protecting Civil Liberties by Mitchell Caldwell and Michael Leaf. And I believe it's like a whole series. If I remember correctly, because I got one of the books and then I got a couple of the other ones. The Devil's Advocate. Ladies and Gentlemen of the Jury. I think that was the first book in the series. Ladies and Gentlemen of the Jury. Let me show you all. This was the original, I believe. See, there it is. The closing arguments from 10 noteworthy cases. Lawyers and non-lawyers will enjoy the passion and eloquence of these counselors. Practitioners of law will find much to learn from them. So it's definitely good for lawyers and non-lawyers alike. It even says so right there in the description. Ladies and Gentlemen of the Jury. And then The Devil's Advocate, I believe, it opens it in a new tab, but that's Greatest Closing Arguments in Criminal Law. And then The Walls Came Tumbling Down is the Greatest Closing Arguments in Protecting Civil Liberties. So they're all closing arguments. It's just one of them is more criminal and the other is about civil stuff. Beautiful damn JD. How do you become a member? Are you on the iPhone, Android, or computer? Because I believe two of those are the same methodology, whereas one of them is a little different. The iOS requires slightly different functionality. That's funny, Raphael. Yeah, it rounds. Sometimes it rounds up, sometimes it rounds down. I don't know. I legitimately have no clue. So, bad arguments. I don't know. I've never read this book. Doesn't seem all that interesting. But yeah, and The Walls Came Tumbling Down, The Devil's Advocate, and Ladies and Gentlemen of the Jury. Like those are the three, basically. Those are the three that I would recommend. I think I believe I read all three, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Here's another one. In the Interest of Justice. In the Interest of Justice. Great opening and closing arguments of the last 100 years. Opening statements and closing arguments. I haven't read this one either. Anyway, those of you who might be interested, this might be right up your alley. Aw, thanks, Lexi. I really appreciate that. You're awesome. Thank you. Daryl Brooks' sentencing is coming this week. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Am I looking forward to that even? I don't even know. What is it coming? Wednesday? I believe it's on Wednesday. If I'm not mistaken. I'm so sorry to hear that, Lynn. She says, Lynn Brittain says, hubby just got bone cancer diagnosis. I need distractions for my sanity. Whew. Cheer. I am I am cheered up. Do I not look cheerful? Why so serious, Larry? Put on a smile. No, I'm just hanging out. I'm hanging out with you guys. My neighbor watches Zinnia, and Beatty is back with the folks. So apparently, I don't know if I told you all, Zinnia was beating Beatty up while I was away. So I was very, very upset. She would not let Beatty sleep. She would not. She was mistreating her. So Beatty needed to not be at my house because those two did not get along. But I don't think it was intentional. I think Zinnia just wanted to constantly play, and Beatty was like, "Can you please leave me alone?" And Zinnia was like, "Nope, I can't. What are you gonna do about it? Fight me." So I'm on the iPhone, and it's not when you put in info. Email would work, I think. Jen's not here. Jen knows how to do it. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe chat can help you out. What is the most realistic lawyer movie you've ever seen? Oh God, it's the one with Matthew McConaughey and Samuel L. Jackson. The John Grisham, I think, right? Right. It was the John Grisham novel. Of course, I'm going to forget the name. Chat will come to the rescue, and it's A Time to Kill. Thank you. That movie was some of the most. Yeah, and I think it's both. It is also John Grisham book to movie. A Time to Kill is just so like you could actually look at that movie, watch it, and be like, yeah, what state did this happen in? Right? It's literally that good. Lincoln Lawyer. Lincoln Lawyer was not. No, there's so many ethical quandaries. Matthew McConaughey is in that one as well, but not Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson plays the father of the daughter who was sexually assaulted by the white men who are being prosecuted in A Time to Kill. Phenomenal movie. Just talking about it makes me want to go see it again because it's just so good. And you had a third question in there, Matrix. What is your best moment ever in court? My best moment, man. I don't know. I just have so many. It's hard to pick one. Uh like in what way? Narrow it down because I can't. It's a little too broad. Can you be a little bit more specific, Matrix? Crushing a witness. Oh, yeah. So I went through LASIK, as some of you may know, a few weeks ago, and my eyes are almost perfect. Like even at nighttime, I don't see the little halos anymore. Is this stream going to turn into a Curious George reading? Probably not. Probably not. I want to do a separate video with its own thumbnail and everything. That was so. When was my entire jury dismissed for admitting bias? That was in Bell County in February of 2019. I had a trial, female truck driver, where I had like 9 out of 12 people say, well, if we don't hear anything from the prosecution, we're basically gonna assume, or we're not gonna hear anything from the defense. We want to hear both sides. And so I ended up striking like 20 people that day. It was really fun. It was really good. Julie O says, my dog just had surgery for a lump that looked bad, and turns out it was a $1,400 piece of stick lodged in her cheek. What? Like it cost $1,400 to get that stick piece unlodged from your dog's mouth? Holy shit. That is an expensive stick. Yeah, that's literally what I was saying. At first I was like, wait, you're rich. Like was this like a golden stick? Like silver stick? Like, wow. Yeah, it cost $1,400 to remove. That's what I figured. I highly doubt the stick itself was worth. Is there a video of the jury getting struck piece by piece? Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's on my channel, I believe. If you go under playlists, scroll down to cop sexually gropes client, and it was the picking the jury for trial video. This video right here. Hey, beautiful damn JD. I think you were not able to figure out how to join on as a member, so I very much appreciate your generous donation. Transformer Uplifter says, Mr. DUI guy, truly appreciate your platform. Thank you so much. I've already subscribed to your channel, wishing you will reach your targeted number of subscribers. Thank you. May God's divine wisdom be your guide at all times. Wow. Powerful, powerful words. Thank you very much. Very powerful words. I love that. But yeah, this is the link to the video. I posted it in the chat. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Somebody's alarm just went off. outside the window. It's very annoying. There you go. Good. Can't wait. Yeah, it was a car alarm. Can't wait. All right. What else? What else you guys want to talk about? You want to talk about that failed crypto base, FTX? I'll do it. I'll do the next Curious George probably tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. All right, let's take a peek. I'm curious. The latest on FTX. I don't know if I haven't been following this, but apparently the crypto website filed for bankruptcy.
Well, joining us now for more on the FTX fallout is Scott Melker, the Wolf of All Streets podcast host. Good to have you on. Obviously, a very tough time to have to be on the show. So I want to get your reaction first. The Chapter 11 filing, SBF resigning as CEO. As someone with skin in the game, where are you in terms of how much this is shaking your faith in not just some of these platforms, but the tokens as well?
Well, I would say it's shaken my faith absolutely zero in the actual asset class and technology, but hard to say the same for the actual platforms and infrastructure that's been built in the crypto space. I mean, what we have here is a slow motion train wreck running into a dumpster fire that's full of black swans. This is about as bad of an event as we could possibly imagine, because this is the biggest platform on the large.
So for those of you unfamiliar, FTX filed for bankruptcy. And their CEO, who, by the way, their CEO is like, doesn't he remind you of like that kid, that nerdy kid that sat next to you in class and was like, yeah, if I ever make $20 billion, I'm going to buy a Toyota Corolla. That's basically exactly what he did. You know, it's kind of wild. It's absolutely wild. He was using, as I understand it, he was using clients' funds in order to basically, he would take clients' funds without their knowledge, without their consent, without their implied agreement, and use them to try and generate more revenue for himself. For himself. Sleazy, greedy, narcissistic bullshit.
Largest stage with the very person who was speaking to Washington regulators and legislators and trying to convince them of the legitimacy of this industry. As I said, the asset
That's what I thought too, but not exactly.
It's going to take quite a while for the actual industry to recover.
It's a circular firing squad at this point, Scott. Who do you blame the most? Gary Gensler certainly taking some heat at the moment.
It's hard to place blame, and it's very easy to do that, I think, in hindsight. I think that there is some blame with the SEC and regulators for not offering clarity and pushing the entire industry and all of these investors offshore, making them find shadier counterparties to do business with. Also, the very fact that we only had GBTC for people to invest in and an ETF was never approved, really very little clarity and very little protection for consumers with superior assets. But at the end of the day, you have to blame hubris, greed, ego, humans, right? We
and
had
Bitcoin
a bunch of very young
too.
people who were empowered, backed by the biggest money in the industry, who basically felt like gods and like they could do anything. And we all know how that story ends. We've seen it repeatedly, and I think it's just a massive disappointment that it ended this way with SBF, who really was viewed as sort of the white knight of the industry.
Scott, this is highly reminiscent of me personally for the bankruptcy of MF Global that took place almost exactly 11 years ago. I remember that the day after Halloween, I think that was when they did the filing, and it created chaos in the futures industry. And this was a well-regulated industry, very entrenched, and it took years to sort out. I'm just wondering, who are you talking to? Who are the experts you're talking to? Is there any sense that
This is wild.
people are going to come
Absolutely
together
wild.
to try and find some kind of common ground here in terms
So much
of
money
a legal defense,
vanished
not legal defenses, but
overnight.
customer coalitions to try and get some of the money returned to those people who lost it and who should be first in line are probably last?
I think that's an interesting question. And right now, I believe it's a bit chaotic. And that's because all of these parties are somewhat separated. And to go back to my former point, we're looking at FTX filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the United States, but only FTX.US operates in the United States. FTX is actually an offshore entity. So I think that this is much more complicated because they are not actually entities that are regulated inside the United States. I mean, you talk about obviously Corzine, and I believe all those investors eventually were actually made whole. That is not going to happen here. I mean, let's be frank. That is not the reality here. We're talking about a $16 billion entity that has a $10 billion hole in the balance sheet. I say it would have been very unlikely that we were going to see a recovery of those assets. Listen, I am a Voyager creditor myself. I believe I've said that before on this show. FTX was, of course, going to be coming in with the bailout, as you mentioned. That is not going to be the case. And anyone who's been down any of these processes knows it's going to be an exceptionally rocky road. I do think that the industry will come together. People will join forces. But I think that right now it's a bit of every man for themselves until we see a bit more organization and things settling down.
And Scott, we know there's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking about people who say they saw red flags, but I mean, you also had some institutional investors
Hindsight
who clearly must have done their
2020.
due
Come on
diligence, at some point for us to get to this point. But for a lot of investors wondering then, where are the safe places or the reliable exchanges? As you try and discern that,
There's no such thing.
How are you supposed to be able
There
to?
is no such thing. What are the good places and the reliable exchanges is a fleeting concept. That is not something that you can like, okay, well, this place is a safe bet. It is a safe bet maybe today. It may not be a safe bet tomorrow. It may not be a safe bet in a week from now. And it may not be a safe bet in a year from now. There's no such thing as a sure thing. Everybody makes guesses, projections, hypotheses as to which agencies are going to hold up, which banks are going to not fail, which crypto exchanges are going to be, going to survive within the next 2, 10, 20, 100 years or whatever. You think in 2003, anybody was looking at Bear or Lehman Brothers and going, yeah, that company is doomed to fail? They were enormous. They were humongous. They were extremely wealthy. They had their hands in many, many cookie jars. And they got their hand chopped off. There's a reason why grandma kept her money in a cash, in a safe, not in a bank. By the way, P.S. Dog is a Chihuahua Jack Russell mix and beat IMHAA after 3 blood. Oh, it's a disease. After 3 blood transfusions. Wow. Wow. That's impressive. Hindsight my behind, says Ian Kinzel. People always see red flags with these financial schemes and nobody listens because money deafens. Exactly. People say like, oh, I saw this coming. Well, why didn't you tell everybody then? Like, come on. It's like the dumbest statement that you can make. Like I knew this was coming. I told everybody. Sometimes people are right, but extremely rarely. Unless you check under the hood, right? If you don't check under the hood, then your guess is just as good as anybody else's.
Discern that at this point.
I think that it's become far more difficult than it was before. To your point, you don't get investment from BlackRock and Sequoia and teaching the Ontario Teachers Fund without due diligence. So I believe that when that last round of funding happened, probably the books were in order and all of this started to really go down in April, May, June, when Three Arrows Capital collapsed. I think that's really where we're seeing the contagion here. As for what's secure, it's a very, very obvious answer, and it goes back to the very ethos of Bitcoin. We won't talk about crypto. Let's talk about Bitcoin because it's very different. Not your keys, not your coins. You can buy on an exchange, but the safest way is to take any coins you're not actively trading or using, put them into self-custody and become your own bank. That's literally the reason that this was invented. We lost sight of that to a large degree as an industry and built basically a replica of 2008, the financial system, but with inferior rails and no regulation. There was only one way, in hindsight, as the Monday morning quarterback, that this could have ended. And I think that the silver lining is that it will come back to the original ethos and importance of buying Bitcoin as an asset and custodying it yourself.
Another Bitcoin bull like yourself, Scott, is Mark Cuban, the Dallas Mavericks owner and the tech billionaire. He spoke about this yesterday at the Sports Business Journal Dealmakers Conference. Here's what he had to say.
He called it right.
First, you
Greed.
got to understand crypto. There's speculation, right? That's all the noise, right? Then there's things that have happened with Voyager and with FTX now. That's somebody running a company that's just dumb as greedy.
Yep, there it is.
Right? So what does Sam Bankman do? He's just give me more, give me more, give me more. So I'm going to borrow money, loan it to my affiliated company, and hope and pretend to myself that the FTT tokens that are in there on my balance sheet are going to sustain their value.
And they don't.
Cuban went on to suggest there could be criminal charges eventually, depending on what exactly happened here. What's the next shoe to drop? What's the next domino here?
I have no idea if there's going to be criminal charges. I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you that we're talking about the Great Recession 2008. You don't see many people in jail. And a lot of the people that we've seen in the crypto industry who have been bad actors and have been a part of this contagion in the past are off surfing and writing long form blog posts about their emotions. So I don't have much faith that we're going to see very much punishment, certainly for any of these offshore entities. As for the next shoe to drop, we already saw BlockFi last night. It's a very circular industry, as you know. I mean, there's conjecture that BlockFi took that FTX loan for $400 million and loaned it back to Alameda Research to gain yield. Now, I can't tell you if that's the fact, but we do know that those kind of things are happening in the industry. I would expect there to be major fallout, a lot more institutions, especially the hedge funds and investors, just absolutely falling apart in the future. But that doesn't mean very much for the future of the asset class, in my opinion. At this point, I think we would rather just liquidate and get rid of all of the bad actors and move on.
That's a good way to put it. Liquidate all the bad actors and move on. Because what else can you do, right? If they file for bankruptcy, which they did, once they file for bankruptcy, you can only get several pennies on the dollar. You will never get 100 cents on the dollar. You'd be lucky to get 7 cents on the dollar, I believe, is the going rate after a company files bankruptcy. So if you invested with them, oh, Julie, that's just cruel. It does look like he has a black eye, but I think it's just bags under his eye. I don't think it's an actually black eye. But Jesus Christ. Collapsed crypto exchange FTX said on Saturday, which is today, it had seen unauthorized transactions. Yeah, who were they made by? Sam himself. He admitted to them. He was transferring funds from the company to other accounts under the radar. Like he had some fail-safe mechanisms so that doesn't happen, but he was going under the mechanisms. It's complete horse shit. With analysts saying millions of dollars worth of assets had been withdrawn from the platform by himself. And he's probably hiding it somewhere for himself. Greed. On top of greed, on top of more greed. That's what usually all this shit boils down to, is they like that man said a minute ago in the video, they feel like gods. They start making, they're not making hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars. they start making and raking in and playing with hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. When you see those types of numbers, you feel invincible. You know, it's very difficult to turn $100 into $110. I remember a quote from my college days. It's turning $100 into $110 is work. Turning $100 million into $110 million is inevitable. But there's a catch. Turning $100 million into $1 million is also potentially inevitable. That's what people don't realize. You can lose just as quickly as you win. So it's not foolproof. Like all you have to do is invest the money improperly, like this cat did, Sam. Blockchain analytics firm Elliptic said that around $473 million worth of crypto assets were moved out of FTX wallets. That means like your wallet. In suspicious circumstances early this morning. I guarantee Sam had his hand in it. I guarantee he's trying to hide some of this money so that when he has to start paying lawyers and shit, there's no, like, who else would do that? Hackers the day after you declare bankruptcy? Please. But that it could not confirm that the tokens had been stolen. Give it a couple days. They'll figure it out. FTX US General Counsel Ryan Miller said in a tweet shortly after at 0700 GMT on Saturday that the firm had expedited the process of moving all digital assets to cold storage to mitigate damage upon observing unauthorized transactions. Oh, so we did it? I don't know. What does that mean? Does that mean like if I had money there, is it safe? I don't know. Julia Marie asks, the DUI guy, I have another question. To what extent are cryptocurrency miners culpable for what happened? Probably they're the ones with the least amount of liability. They probably have close to zero because they are not hosting on these exchanges. They're simply mining it, usually for their own personal gain. Now, mining is very, very difficult and very, very costly. So they have what's called pools of miners. And these miners go in and mine these coins and, solve the equations and all that, how the process goes. If you're not familiar, you can look it up. We're not going to go in depth on it. And plus, I'm not an expert on it. I know enough to get by. Who is liable? Well, the CEO and probably his entire troop. The CEO has already resigned, and his troop is probably slowly but surely will follow. Cold storage. So what is cold storage? Refers to crypto wallets that are not connected to the internet to guard against hackers. Okay. All right. So we're putting the money where hackers can't touch it. Why are you concerned about hackers all of a sudden? Earlier on Saturday, Miller said in a tweet that he was investigating abnormalities with wallet movements related to consolidation of FTX balances across exchanges. FTX did not respond to a Reuters request for comment. FTX's token FTT plunged by around 91% this week. Holy hell. Shares of cryptocurrency and blockchain-related firms have also declined. Well, when one goes down, they all kind of follow. Why do they decline? Because people get scared. When there's scare, there's panic. When there's panic, there's withdrawal. And when there's withdrawal, things start to fall apart. Look at this. November 2nd, it was worth 26. It was worth 22. So it was kind of up and down, up and down. What's the max? It launched on July 29th, 2019. It was worth next to nothing, like a buck, then 2, then 3. And it really started taking off Christmas 2020. Christmas 2020 went to 6 to 9 to 34. By my birthday last year, right when Elon Musk, by the way, was going on SNL, that's when it completely exploded. Then it collapsed literally like not even a week later, 2 weeks later, from 60 to 27. Then it was able to climb back to 73 by September. And that was the highest it's ever been. And it hasn't climbed back up to anywhere near those levels since. By January, it was at 37. And it kind of maintained for the most part until April. And then it was steady for the last 6 months or so, around 26, 25, 26, 30, 26, 23, 24. And then this past week, I mean, look at this. This is like fucking Enron or Adelphia or was it Suncrisp, Suncast? What was that one energy company that bottomed out? Sun something, I can't remember. Look at it. $22 on November 8th to $15 that same day to $4 to $2. And right now it's sitting comfortably at $2. Jesus Christ. Everybody withdrew. I mean, it makes complete sense. Why it's still at $2 and not at 0? Because not everybody heard the news yet. Wait until everybody hears the news. Once everybody hears the news, it's going to go to 0. FTX has been hacked. Prior to Miller's tweets, FTX officials appeared to confirm rumors of a hack on the firm's Telegram channel. But who's the hacker, right? I'm still pointing the finger at Sam. I highly doubt this was... He tweeted about it, for fuck's sake. Okay, let me show you. Because this is going to drive me insane. Let me see if I can find it. He said, I fucked up. Sorry. There it is. This dude is nuts. This dude is literally, he's a child. He's an absolute embarrassment to professionals everywhere. Hi, all. Today, I filed FTX, FTX US, and Alameda for voluntary Chapter 11 proceedings. I'm really sorry again that we ended up there. Like, what? Wait, where's the I'm sorry? There it is. I'm sorry. November 10th, Thursday. He's like a 30-year-old kid. Just a hair younger than me. I think he's like 31 or 32 today. I'm sorry. That's the biggest thing. I fucked up and should have done better. You know what this tells me? This kid is a complete and utter moron. Because this is later going to be used in lawsuits against him. He probably breaks up via text. Julie, you're on a roll today. No, you're sorry you got caught. That's what you're sorry about. Stop being so Canadian. Mind you, this tweet is going to come up Oh, and here's the funniest thing. Check this out. Here's an update on where things are. This is November 10th at 9:13 a.m. Here's an update. This is about FTX International, the non-US exchange. FTX US users are fine. Treat all these numbers as rough. They're approximations here. And then look at this. The following day. Hi all. Today I filed FTX US and Alameda for voluntary Chapter 11 proceedings in the US. In the US. Like, this kid is a fucking joker. I swear to God. This reminds me of The Wolf of Wall Street when Matthew McConaughey does the finger movement and whistle in the restaurant. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Come on, do it with me. Mm-hmm. Remember that scene? Mm-hmm. Both of those, very, very good. Hey, Jen B in the house. What's up, Jen? She said, I fell asleep. You're all good. You're all good. Thank you for joining us. We're having lots of fun talking about the collapse of FTX and how stupid their former CEO is. I mean, I swear, he literally shot himself in the foot on multiple occasions. On multiple occasions. Those are rookie numbers. Yeah, that's right. Matthew Harris Law PLLC. Welcome. Looks like a law firm. Oh, man. This kid, I swear, he's just, I'm really sorry again that we ended up here. Hopefully, things can find a way to recover. Hopefully, this can bring some amount of transparency, trust, and governance to them. Wrong answers. Ultimately, hopefully, how many more times are you going to use hopefully? It can be better for customers. No, it's not going to be, buddy. This doesn't necessarily have to mean the end for the companies or their ability to provide. I mean, he's literally trying to undig the grave that's already dug. And he's just digging in a different way further. Ability to provide value and funds for their customers chiefly, and can be consistent with other routes. Ultimately, I'm optimistic that Mr. Ray and others can help provide whatever is best. I'm guessing that's the man that's going to take over his position as CEO of FTX. I'm going to work on giving clarity on where things are in terms of user recovery ASAP. I'm piecing together all the details, but I was shocked to see things unravel the way they did earlier this week. But you already said you fucked up. You can't. Oh my God. This kid is trying to sit on like every chair imaginable. He's like, I messed up, but I never expected things to go the way that they did, but I really screwed up. But I'm really going to piece it together and figure things out, but I fucked up. But I'm going to get to the bottom of it and figure out who did it. It was me, but it wasn't me. And I'm going to get to the bottom of who did it. Like, dude, what? Where did he get the $8 from? These comments are hilarious.
Was just a big fuck fest? Caroline and SPF having sex on those goddamn beanbags? Picture that in your mind.
No, thank you.
That is disgusting. Imagine SPF in a fucking orgy, fucking those other nerds left and right all day and all night while playing League of Legends while they're fucking.
What the hell?
God damn! All day they're just on their computer taking amphetamine.
Is he holding a machete? What is
losing
this?
money and fucking each other in the Bahamas. Oh my God, that's disgusting!
What is this? How did I come across this thing? This is amazing. He's got the cool cats. Um, he's got the cool cats sweatpants on. He's holding a machete. There's a lot. There's a lot. This dude's gonna be. He wanted to become a meme. He clearly is trying like really hard to become a meme, and he may have succeeded. I don't know. Usually memes are. Oh dear lord. That's classic. That's gonna be a meme. Man votes 5 million people at once. Oh my god. These are the best. No, it doesn't affect my baby. 30 years later. Oh, it's like his mom. Damn, dude. Damn. All right, let's see what else he's got. This is getting interesting. We hope this is just step one, beginning to find ways to bring liquidity to users. Basically, I already lost your money. Now I have to figure out how to pay whatever I can. That's what he's saying there. This is the core thing that I'm fighting for right now and will continue to fight for in whatever ways I can. And finally, I sincerely apologize. Oh boy. Oh, let's see this string. So this is I'm sorry, that's the biggest thing ever. That's the biggest thing. I fucked up and should have done better. I should have been communicating more very recently. Transparently, my hands were tied during the duration of the possible Binance deal. Have you all ever seen that show Bad Vegan on Netflix? If you haven't seen that show, it's only like 4 episodes. They're about an hour each. They are really, really good. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like this woman who ran a restaurant, and then she starts dating this narcissistic person who is basically cleaning her out. He has a gambling addiction. She doesn't know it yet. Sorry for the spoiler, but it's really not going to ruin the show. Like, you absolutely have to watch it. And he just feeds her like every time. He's like, look, he actually created an entire fairy tale world about how her dog is never going to die, how when he's talking to people that are going to take her to like the next level, whatever the fuck that means, and she's going to be like she's been specially selected in like all these tests that she has to go through. Basically, she has to keep giving him money. I'm not going to reveal how much she ends up giving him and how much she ends up losing to him. She actually ends up getting arrested. That's how the show starts. I highly, highly recommend it. Bad Vegan. It's on Netflix. He sounds exactly like that guy. He's like, babe, sorry. Like, my hands were tied during the duration of the possible Binance deal. I wasn't particularly allowed to say much publicly. Like, I'm so sorry, but of course it's on me that we ended up here in the first place. Like, he takes responsibility, but at the same time, in such a sleazy way, he absolutely doesn't. He's like, look, and here's an update. This is all about international, FTX International, not US. So stop withdrawing money, you fuckheads. I need your money to be able to pay the other people back. That's basically what that's saying. FTX International currently has a total market value of assets collateral higher than client deposits. Moves with prices. I call bullshit. But that's different from liquidity for delivery, as you can tell from the state of withdrawals. The liquidity varies widely from very to very little. I hope somebody screenshotted these tweets, and now they're going to be forever preserved in this video. So you're welcome, because I swear these are going to appear in court filings. These are going to appear in court filings. This is the kind of stuff, like, as he approaches complete and total and utter collapse, he continues to mislead and defraud users. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Because I'm sure this statement is fake. It's a lie. There's no question. But that's different from liquidity for delivery. So the total market value, basically, like literally, he's basically saying how markets work. Like it could be higher than in liquid value, but not right now because the markets are in the dumpster. So like, give it a week. When they go back up, I'll be able to pay you back. Stop withdrawing your money, please. That's what he's trying to say. It's stupid because markets can, in theory, I mean, look at what happened with Bernie Madoff. That's the similarity. That's where the two align, where Bernie Madoff and SBF are kind of like Sam, are kind of like exactly the same. He had more that he could chew, and then when people came in, wanted their money back at the same time, that's when his whole scheme fell apart. The liquidity varies widely from very something to very little. Very what to very little? Very much to very little? Or just very to very, like, this dude doesn't even make grammatical fucking sense. The full story here is one I'm still fleshing out every detail of. So I can't tell you the truth because I have to lie to you and twist it. But as a very high level, I fucked up twice now. The first time, a poor internal labeling of bank-related accounts meant that I was substantially off on my sense of user's margin. I thought it was way lower. My sense before, leverage 0, US dollar liquidity ready to deliver 24 times average daily withdrawals. Actual leverage 1.7, liquidity 0.8, Sunday's withdrawals. Because, of course, when it rains, it pours. We saw roughly $5 billion of withdrawals on Sunday, the largest by a huge margin. Bad Vegan was just really hungry, and he caught her in a weak moment. Right on. Okay, so this dude obviously is trying to kind of backtrack and say, look, yes, I was stealing your money, but it was just a bad day of trading. It was just, all it took was one bad day. One bad day. And so I was off twice, which tells me a lot of things, both specifically and generally, that I was shit at. Wow. And a third time, in not communicating enough. I should have said more. I'm sorry. I was slammed with things to do and didn't give updates to you. Is this dude for real? Is this dude fucking for real? I'm sorry, dude. Like, this is what you tell your date. Like, hey, babe, listen, so a few things came up. Like, I'm sorry I missed dinner. I had to clean my refrigerator, and then I dusted under the cabinets, and and then I had to like pick up hairballs under the bed. Like, I had so much stuff to do, babe. I'm so sorry I missed our dinner. I promise I'll make it up to you. Like, I'm so sorry. And I'm gonna go back to the refrigerator cleaning right now because like I can't deal with this right now. I'm sorry. Thank you, Elron Butters, for the super sticker. Like, is this dude for real? I'm sorry I was slammed is an excuse you can give to your future ex-girlfriend. It is not an excuse you can give 5 million people who invested in your company. College is over, dude. And so we are where we are, which sucks, and that's on me. I'm sorry. Wow. Not only is he an idiot, he's like a double, triple, quadruple idiot. Because he screwed up Then he admits to screwing up. Then he admits to admitting that he screwed up. Then he continues down the rabbit hole of, this is how I screwed up. I had the wrong assumption, so I screwed up here. And then I screwed up twice, and I screwed up 3. And now this is all memorialized forever and ever and ever. Anyway, right now, my number one priority by far is doing right by users. I'll get you 7 cents on every dollar you invested with me because I declared bankruptcy yesterday. And I'm going to do everything I can to do that, to take responsibility and do whatever I can. Like, you're going to serve prison time over this, dude. You're not getting away from that. You know, if you screwed like 5 people, you'd just be like in debt for the rest of your life. But you screwed over, thank you, Deanna Grayson. But you screwed over 5 million people or more, straight up, you're going to prison. You're going to serve prison time. You're not just going to get off of this. So, right, this is kind of like, y'all remember Fire Festival? Y'all remember that dude that tried to do a Fire Festival and lied to people, and they paid him big money for like villas that never existed and houses that never existed? Yeah, I would have told him to shut the fuck up. Exactly, Benjamin. Benjamin, man. That's a cool name. Yeah, absolutely I would. Are you kidding me? Stop talking. This guy is a complete moron. He's going to burn. He's going to burn very hard, but it still does not compare to how much he burned users and their pocketbooks. A lot of people had probably their retirement funds with this guy. And he's, I'm sorry, oops. So you're not going to be able to retire in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years now because of me. And they're in the millions. So right now we're spending the week doing everything we can to raise liquidity, which is what? You're taking the money you already have and reinvesting it. That's literally what you just admitted to, that you're continuing to do the same scheme on the assumption that they're going to rise. What if they collapse even further? You're going to have even less. Oh my God, that right there, and the withdrawal of the $473 million that was available in liquidity, and they put it in this so-called safe, like frozen account or whatever. What was it called? Not frozen. Sorry. Cold storage. Cold storage. It's very possible that he's continuing to wheel and deal behind the scenes. I firmly believe that. This kid cannot be trusted. He's like, okay, like once a gambler, always a gambler. He's got a gambling addiction. No question. So what he's doing now, he's like, all right, I fucked up. I need to pay. Now I have to pay all these people back. How do I do that? I need money. How do I get money? Well, I can invest in stocks and crypto and all that, and then I'll have money. So now he can take $473 million reinvested can easily turn into 800 million. Sure, can also easily turn into 100 million. And now people get 2 cents on the dollar rather than the 7 they could have. This is insane. This is insane. This kid is so reckless. I can't make any promises about that, right? Because you're investing it, probably. But I'm going to try and give everything I have to, give anything I have to if that will make it work. What is this? I feel like I'm reading a fictional novel. There are a number of players who we are in talks with, LOIs, term sheets, etc. We'll see how that ends up. Every penny of that and of the existing collateral will go straight to users unless or until we've done right by them. After that, investors old and new and employees who have fought for what's right for their career and who weren't responsible for any of the fuck-ups. Because at the end of the day, I was CEO, which means that I was responsible for making sure that things went well. I ultimately should have been on top of everything, and I wasn't. I clearly failed in that. I am sorry. Jeez Louise, this guy is a fucking crybaby. So what does this mean going forward? I'm not sure. That depends on what happens over the next week. But here are some things I know. Again, it's so uncertain, because he's still gambling. He's still investing. First, one way or another, Alameda Research is winding down trading. They aren't doing any of the weird things that I see on Twitter and nothing large at all. And one way or another, soon they won't be trading on FTX anymore. Yeah, FTX is not going to be in existence, buddy, by the time you're done with it. You're already done with it. Second, in any scenario in which FTX continues operating, its first priority will be radical transparency. Transparency, it probably always should have been given. So basically, I fucked up running this company until now. We're going bankrupt. Nobody has any money. We can't pay you guys back. But now we're going to start doing things right. Please. You're trying to you're trying to bring back a zombie, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Giving as close to on-chain transparency as it can so that people know exactly what is happening. Oh, man, I swear, at this point, I'm already tuning out. I'm already tuning out. All of the stakeholders would have a hard look at FTX governance. I will not be around if I'm not wanted. Dude, you're definitely not wanted. All of the stakeholders, investors, regulators, users would have a large part to play in how it would be run. Solely trust. Yeah, let me trust you after you fucked me. No thanks. Now, I say me as the metaphorical me, not me personally. I never invested in FTX. But all of that isn't what matters right now. What matters right now is trying to do right by its customers. That's it. Again, he's just repeating himself over and over. He realizes he's done, like completely done. This is insanity. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, by the way, if you haven't already. We're so close to our mark. So close. A few other assorted comments. Oh, there's more. But wait, there's more. This was about FTX International. FTX US, we already learned that's a lie. The US-based exchange that accepts Americans was not financially impacted by this shit show. Yes, it was, because you filed for bankruptcy on it the following day. It's 100% liquid. Every user could fully withdraw, modulo, gas fees, etc. Updates on its future coming. Yeah, bankruptcy. At some point, I might have more to say about a particular sparring partner, so to speak. What he was trying to do here, by the way, the fraud scheme that he was running right here in these last moments before filing bankruptcy, he was hoping that his words, like, this is what he's doing. He's literally like a narcissist would, spews a bunch of shit, hoping that people would buy into it so that he could use that money, and then every person can get like 11 cents on the dollar instead of 7, right? Or 12 or 13 or 14 in bankruptcy. But the more people will draw, the less money there is left to go around, because he stole it. He stole it, he withdrew it, and was using it for nefarious purposes. Greed, pure fucking greed, like Mark Cuban said, he called it. At some point, I might have more to say about a particular sparring partner, so to speak. So now he's being cryptic. After saying, I'm going to be more transparent with you all, he literally goes back to crypticism. This is insanity. Like, I swear. But, you know, glass houses. So for now, all I say is, well played, you won. I think he's referring to Binance, who withdrew at the last moment here. Now, in all caps, not advice of any kind in any way. I was not very careful with my words here and do not mean any of them. Oh, God. Somebody please kill me. Ugh. After he tweets all this shit, after he tweets all of that garbage, he goes, oh, by the way, you can't use any of this stuff against me legally or financially. I was not very careful with my words here and do not mean any of them in a technical or legal sense. I may well have not described things right, though I'm trying to be transparent. I'm not a good developer and probably misdescribed something. And finally, I sincerely apologize. We'll keep sharing updates as we have them. What the actual flying fuck, man? 800 comments on this one. Warning, you are running out of it is what it is. Are you sure you want to continue? Jesus Christ, why do you hate your own lawyers so much? Is literally at the top. Damn, dude. Oh, man. I can't with this guy. What he should have done is kept his mouth shut completely. Instead, he went on rambling for so long, hoping that maybe somehow this is going to save my ass, which is not going to happen. Because he's a complete moron. He's a complete moron. He's a complete moron. He was just making up a story to explain how he had allegedly a secret backdoor in their closed source CEX management software that could have allegedly been used to siphon billions to a trading firm. The kind of stuff attorneys can't help, like red notices and life sentence. You will end up in prison meeting this lovely friend. Why are you here? I thought you were financially stable. This is Squid Games, where most of them end up dying in the end. Oh, that's a good meme. He's waving to him, it looks like, but in reality, he's throwing him the finger, flipping him the bird. Can you tell us what happens to the withdrawals we tried to make before you suspend withdrawals? Withdrawal requests are not honored and funds are not returned into the wallet. Is this some kind of scam? Oh, so people are requested at 11/8 before the halt, and in the last, it took 1 or 2 days to hit my bank account, but it was a bank holiday here in the US on day 3. Don't think I'll be able to find out till Monday at this point. Terrifying.
Don't care. Plus, me. Don't care. Plus, didn't ask. Plus, slogan on top. Plus, cry. LOL. Plus, stay mad. Plus, get real. Plus, L. Plus, mold. Plus, see the cope harder. Plus, hose mad skills issue. Plus, ratio. Plus, you fell off. Plus, triggered. Plus, any askers. Plus, red pilled. Plus, ratio again. Plus, final ratio. Plus, rip bozo. Plus, WTMB on top.
When withdraw? Never. It's gone. Move on. You won't live enough to see a single euro. These are European people. Did he just apologize and then have a disclaimer saying he might not be apologizing after all? May you rot in jail. Wow, people here are so kind and compassionate. I'm speechless. Well, Irina Rish, you probably didn't invest with this guy. These people are the ones who lost money. I hope they arrest you. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow. Okay. You're not a good CEO or a good person either. Okay, this one is sus. Wow. Next time, there we go. Finally, a reasonable comment that you should have took into consideration before tweeting all this garbage. Next time, retain counsel and refrain from issuing lengthy public statements before your impending devastating trial. Exactly what I've been saying. Mishandling people's money is the gravest sin. Yes, at least in my book. Others will forgive you. I'll always consider you a Ponzi wannabe on 150 milligrams of Vivancy, whatever. The fact that this guy was handling millions of other people's money is baffling to me. He's like a stoned college kid, for real. This is ridiculous. Tone drop the soap. The SEC. Yes. Yes. That's literally what the SEC wants, is like you admitting to it. And you just did it. You literally just crucified yourself. Netflix documentary incoming. It's just at Netflix. Like, that's it. Man. Unbelievable. Imposter. Oh, man. I'm a disabled combat vet on a very tight budget. I put all my savings trusting and believing you're different than the rest. Oh, that's gonna hit. Oh, I got shivers, y'all. Whew, that's how you know it's real. This happening, I lost everything and not sure how I'm going to get out of this one. Us little guys believing in you don't have billions to fall on. FTX is my favorite crypto website. We believe in FTX. Oh boy. Girl, don't fall in love with any exchange. Do not play emotion with your money. Exactly. I'm gonna like that one. Really? Why? Stockholm syndrome, fool. Your wigs, Sam Bankman Fried, scam Bankman, bank run fraud. Oh man. All right. Okay. Let's go back to the article. This kid is a complete moron. Prior to Miller's tweets, FTX officials appeared to confirm rumors of a hack on the firm's Telegram channel, according to a CoinDesk report, which said that the exchange had instructed customers to delete FTX apps and avoid its website. That's another just like sneaky tactic to avoid having people withdraw funds. FTX has been hacked. An account administrator in the FTX support Telegram channel wrote in a message. According to CoinDesk, Reuters could not immediately verify the details posted on FTX's private Telegram channel. FTX filed for bankruptcy on Friday, one of the highest profile crypto blowups after traders rushed to withdraw $6 billion from the platform in just 72 hours, and rival exchange Binance abandoned a proposed rescue deal. In its bankruptcy petition, FTX Trading said it has $10 billion to $50 billion in assets, $10 billion to $50 billion in liabilities, and more than 100,000 creditors. A restructured expert was appointed to take over as CEO, John J. Ray III. The U.S. securities regulator is investigating FTX.com's handling of customer funds amid a liquidity crunch, as well as its crypto lending activities, a source with knowledge of the inquiry said. Hedge fund Galloway Capital had half its assets trapped on FTX, the Financial Times reported on Saturday, citing a letter from co-founder Kevin Zhao to investors and estimating the amount to be around $100 million. Dear God. The collapse shocked investors and prompted fresh calls to regulate the crypto asset sector, which has seen losses stack up this year as cryptocurrency prices collapsed. Things will continue to simmer after the FTX crash, said Ellen Wong, operations manager of Hong Kong Digital Asset Exchange. With a gap of $8 billion between liabilities and assets when FTX is insolvent, it will trigger a domino effect, which I'm surprised it hasn't already, but maybe because we're in the weekend, it's not as bad, I suppose. It will cascade on Monday. Just wait. Just wait. This is only the beginning. This is the tip of the iceberg. It will trigger a domino effect, which will lead to a series of investors related to FTX going bankrupt or being forced to sell assets. In an illiquid bear market, the event will lead to a new round of cryptocurrency declines, as well as a liquidation leverage. Liquidation of leverage, excuse me. Oh, man. Unbelievable. This exchange's dramatic fall from grace has seen its 30-year-old founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, known for his shorts and t-shirt attire, morph from being the poster child of crypto's successes to the protagonist of the industry's biggest crash. Bankman-Fried, who lives in the Bahamas, has also been the subject of speculation about his whereabouts. On Saturday, he told Reuters that he was in the Bahamas, denying speculation on Twitter that he had flown by private jet to South America. The turmoil at FTX has seen at least $1 billion of customer funds vanish from the platform, sources told Reuters on Friday. Bankman-Fried had transferred $10 billion of customer funds to his trading company, Alameda Research, the sources said. Alameda Research? What a snaky name. What a snaky fucking name. Alameda Research. That's my trading company. We just do research. It's crazy. We research how I can take your money and use it for nefarious purposes. Like, what? Like, feels bad, man. Like, legitimately feels bad, man. Executives reportedly knew about this stuff. So this is not like, oh my God, it's coming as a complete shock. We had no idea. It's like a oopsie. It's insane. FTX affiliated crypto trading firm Alameda Research's chief executive officer, Caroline Ellison, and senior FTX officials knew that the crypto exchange had lent Alameda its customer funds to help meet liabilities. Jesus Christ. Reuters reportedly reported Friday that FTX founder and former CEO Sam SBF had secretly transferred $10 billion of customer funds from FTX to Alameda. $10 billion. Ellison told employees in a video meeting on Wednesday that she, SBF, and two other executives, Nishad Singh and Gary Wang, were aware of the decision to move customer funds to Alameda, the journal said, citing people familiar with the matter. Oh my fucking God. Wow. FTX and Alameda Research did not immediately respond to Reuters' request for comment. Whew. They're done. Oh, this is a good comment. How convenient to get hacked the day they declare bankruptcy, huh? Sounds like he's setting up the dog ate my homework defense when authorities start requesting accounting records. Well, whatever he gets coming his way, he absolutely deserves, start to finish. Absolutely deserves, start to finish. It's absolutely incredible, like in a bad way, not like in a good way. To have so much so much responsibility, so much money, and to just blow it away. I mean, like that. You're a complete moron. You're a complete moron, bro. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. I had so much fun, you guys, but I'm sorry I have to get going. I'll be back. I'll be back. We're probably gonna hit it tonight. We're probably gonna hit our mark tonight. I'll be back maybe in like 3 hours or so, and hopefully we can finally get that final stretch. We're so close, so close. 72 people, 72 more people, 72 more people. I love you guys. I love every single one of you. As you know, kisses, hugs, smiles all around. I will see you in a few hours, you guys. I got to get going. Bye-bye.